Hey everybody, I'm just doing a little bit of a review and work in progress on the Sarissa Precision House Stone Chimney number 1. And so this is from their North American range in 28mm. I had purchased it for Muskets and Tomahawks. I wanted to have some extra little houses and I am going to still be doing some of my own terrain, but I've wanted to get some stuff together a little quicker while I'm painting minis, just so I can actually play some bigger games. And these are actually fairly reasonably priced in my mind. I'd gotten mine from Warlord Games, but they have, I think, 4 houses. They have a number of houses that are of this sort of size. Now, this was sort of really the entry level because some of them do have little pieces where they come off the back, so little extensions either on the back or the front. Some have extensions on the front and some have porches, and you can basically get this template but bigger with extra additives, you know. And so I'll talk a little bit about my thoughts on this after I go over a bit more, you know, just for my purposes. But these are the instructions. It's a really simple kit. And so the instructions are fairly simple. It's just 1 page, and so as you can see, probably not that it's complex, but probably the most complex part is just the area where the roof attaches to here. Actually just slides into this piece that you construct, which is basically one side of the house with the chimney, which is this that you glue on, and then on the inside they give you a bit of a mantle that turns into the chimney, the centerpiece. Well, no, actually, I guess it's just this piece here that you glue on this side, and it just forms this area where it all sits on. So the instructions themselves are just these 5 lines. For the most part, it's all doable. I put this together. I probably put it together it probably took me longer because I just sort of took my time than it should, and it took me about a half hour. So that was just sort of at my leisure. And so this was just really, in my mind, great, you know, so far to be able to use for a little house, an extra little house, for a settlement or just anywhere. For the Muskets and Tomahawks game, the French-Indian War period I'm using it for. And so, a couple of comments. Now, for those of you that watch the channel, you know that I've already built a building by Sarissa Precision, and it was the Chateau, which I initially bought it for bolt action, but I also use it for Muskets and Tomahawks. And so that was the European Chateau. In my mind, having done that one and then now seeing this kit, Sarissa Precision has made some improvements on their kits, as far as I can tell. Now, some of it is obvious. So, even though this is what I would call one of the probably the most entry-level type of kit you can get from Sarissa in its size, they've actually started to put interior details in, even though they're not a lot on this one. I wouldn't expect a lot from an entry-level kit, but they've actually put some grooved flooring in, which is not the case for my European Chateau, which I would consider to be one of their, maybe not their most upper-level kit, but just in another tier or 2 above this one. They have this mantle, which you can actually create into a physical mantle, but then also it has some like a picture frame on the wall, and it's got a bit of a fireplace. And so even on the outside, I would say the outside is probably pretty similar, although just trying to remember, I think even the exterior here for both the chimney and here, there's a bit more recessed detail than I would have seen on the Chateau, I believe. And so, you know, it's not, because it's an entry-level kit, I just sort of keep that in perspective. But the other thing I wanted to say is, and I know Smitty and there's some other people that watch the channel actually have bought Sarissa Precision kits, and I noticed on this one, if you look up real close, this level of sort of burnt edging, the finish on the edging here, that dark, I believe it appears to be of a higher quality than what I experienced on the Chateau. I can't say that 100% sure because I'm kind of going back in time now, but I don't believe it was finished as well as that. This reminds me more of foreground in the way that it's finished on the edge, and that's actually really important to me, and I'll tell you why. I've done some reading on preparing MDF for modeling as far as for painting. Last time all I did was prime it, and the stuff really soaks up the prime quite a bit, but particularly edges. And I'd noticed that as I was painting it with acrylic paints, that there did seem to be some swelling and on the edges, and particularly in the window frames, and sort of almost a chalkiness that appears and a fibriness in the window frames when I was painting them. I guess it makes sense that when reading up on it, because acrylic paint is primarily water, the MDF and the fibrous materials, where in particular where the edges are, it can swell and take to that moisture and even potentially warp, I think. And so a lot of people do treat these kits and seal them prior, and I didn't do that on my last one. It turned out okay, but I'll tell you, it was a bit of a pain to paint in some ways. I have heard of people saying they've had no problems whatsoever. I don't know how they would do that without treating it and not experiencing that. But now, having seen these edges, you can even see the glare on that, the edge. I actually think it likely will, withstand a bit more than the last one. And so it actually fits really nicely. I actually like that. This little design that they have here, it actually fits really nicely. Like literally half of the chimney kind of just comes out. And my review, honestly, is that this kit was even more enjoyable to put together than the Chateau, and I don't mean from like a time length wise. I just think the materials, and I just think they're improving, which I think any company should do. That's just sort of my opinion on it. I don't know what anybody else thinks. It just seems like it's improving, and I really like the price to quality ratio on Sarissa. Now, the only other thing I'll just mention is this video I'm also going to just show how I not paint the entire thing. I will do a display on these, but I'm actually testing some things out on this one because I've also bought another larger barn for this range, and I want to test some things on this one in painting it and preparing it, so then I can do it on my barn, which is a larger model. Now, because of the experience I had last time that I just mentioned with the swelling and things, I am trying something. I don't want to lose the details that are in this, but I am going to spray a light coat of fast-drying polyurethane by Minwax over this model, both the interior and exterior. And then what I'm planning on doing before painting is, so I'm going to test this, and I'll show you guys this like after I do it. But I'm also going to use, and I got this at Walmart, it's just the cheapest and I'm hoping thinnest sort of just gray primer. This was like $2.50 Canadian a can, so it's like nothing. But I'm just using this just to get a quick coat of prime over that polyurethane. And I don't mind actually trying to find these like really affordable primers, just for things like terrain, and testing them out just to see that how I do with them. And then from there I will paint it. I think I'm gonna land on going with mostly a white exterior and interior. I'm gonna have the floor be sort of a wood look, and then a dark gray, I believe, for the roof. I want this one either that or a red. I'm thinking a gray or a red, I'm not sure. But I want this one to be not exactly the same as the Chateau, but sort of blend in with the Chateau, because when you build settlements in the Muskets and Tomahawks game, I just want them to be somewhat matching. And I think the fact that there's a lot of white on that one, and this will be white for the plank, will look good. And then that's a green top. I don't want it to be exactly the same, so I'm either going to do a dark gray or a red on this roof. Yeah, and so I'll be back in a little bit, and I'll just show you guys what it looks like after putting the polyurethane on and how that took. Okay, be right back.